have told you throughout the season about some of the stories and history of Xavier basketball in the book Xavier Tales, written by Michael Perry, and there have been many firsts and records set in Xavier basketball. One of the most recent, for example, last year's 30 wins, the most by a single team for the Xavier Musketeers. But one that has stood for 45 years was the one set by Steve Thomas. And it was a night in January of 1964 that for him seemed like he couldn't miss. Just like the program today, Xavier would take on all comers in basketball during the 63-64 season. They fared particularly well against some of the nation's best, led by Coach Don Ruberg and star guard Steve Thomas.
We played about 10 top 20 teams, and we lost 7 games by a total of 20 points. And that was a team that we could have easily won 20-21 games.
Instead, they won 16. One of those came against Detroit in January of 1964. It was a night Steve Thomas will never forget, scoring a school record 50 points in a feat that may never be matched.
One of the nights where everything was going, and we played Detroit, and they were a fast break team too, so I think the final score was 121 to 115, something like that. And again, you're only as good as your teammates, you know, and they'd look to get me the ball, set picks, so it was a great individual accomplishment, and we won, which makes it a lot better.
Scoring was the name of the game for Thomas. He also holds the season mark for average at 30 points per game. In the book Xavier Tales, he tells the story of how he developed a shot that helped him score more than 1,700 points in his Xavier career.
It just kind of came to me during the game, like improvising. I'd go off my right foot, cradle the ball this side, and back then I could jump. And it had the ability to change the arch, to shoot over big guys and bank it in. So I haven't seen anybody, now they just run and dunk, but I have never seen anybody shoot the same kind of shot. So I didn't really develop it. It was during the game, it just came to me, and it was a great weapon to have.
That running one-hander also helped him earn second-team All-American honors that same year.
It was great, especially, like I said, at the time we didn't have any. We were an independent, and with all those great players that were out there then, Rick Barry and Bill Bradley, and to be picked in that kind of class was a great honor. When
his playing days were finished, the Cincinnati native graduated, raised a family, and worked a long and successful career in customer relations. Now retired, he still carries with him his Xavier experience and how it affects his life to this very day.
I take pride in the fact that I was part of the history of Xavier, which has come all the way to where it is today, and the fact that Xavier gave me the chance to play, and I got a great education which served me well and through the years, and also just to be part of that, the whole thing, and it's fun to come back and root for him to keep going.
And Steve Thomas told me a very interesting story. He was in the stands when Dayton played Xavier back in 2003, and David West had an unbelievable night, and he finished the game with 47 points, and that has been the closest that anyone has gotten to Steve Thomas's record of 50 points in a game against Detroit. January 6, 1964. Be sure to tune in for the next Musketeers Live. We'll talk to Darnell Williams, a big part of the teams in the mid-90s. But up next, we'll talk to the head coach of the Musketeers, Sean Miller.